What's happening, people? Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to today's broadcast. It's Monday, 28th of September, and we're 10 minutes into the European opening. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe and support us in delivering more quality content. Let's get started, guys. This week is the NFP week. There we go. This week is the NFP week. But before Friday, we have one public debate between Donald Trump and his rival Joe Biden, which will happen tomorrow. And that will definitely keep the financial markets pinned down. Meanwhile, in Europe, European stocks are seen higher today on strong numbers coming from China. But is that worth the buy? That is the question. Oil slips again on oversupply worries and low demand. Then gold under pressure ahead of tomorrow's presidential election debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Welcome to the European opening, everyone. Let's see how the markets open today and what's expected to happen today and this week in the economic calendar, as we have lots of announcements. I have two announcements which will be announced towards the end of this broadcast. So moving on, we see European stocks seen higher based on a strong Chinese data. Let's see what the article says by Peter Nertz on investing.com. European stock markets are seen opening higher today, helped by positive Chinese data, but gains are likely to be tentative as rising coronavirus cases continue to fan fears or further economic weakness in the region. That over the weekend showed an increase in profits at China's industrial companies for the fourth consecutive month in August, suggesting that the economic recovery in the second largest economy in the world was well entrenched. However, expect the gains to be short-lived as expectations for economic growth in Europe and further afield falter on the back of a resurgence of the COVID-19 cases. Right. Investors will also be keeping a wary eye on the latest Brexit talks, with the final round of scheduled discussions between the EU chief negotiator, Michael Barnier, and his British counterpart, David Frost, beginning in Brussels tomorrow. The first debate between US President Donald Trump and his rival Joe Biden also takes place on Tuesday, ahead of the November election, while any progress on a new fiscal support package in the US will also be of interest. The New York Times published an in-depth analysis of Trump's leaked tax returns on Sunday evening, which documented years of losses at many of his golf courses and hotels. No doubt about it, guys. The closer you get to elections, the more they will start digging. So, yes, Donald Trump leaked some tax returns and has a few years of losses at his many golf courses and hotels. Who really cares about it? Moving on. Let's see what it's expected to happen with oil. We see the headline: oil slips as surge in virus cases cloud demand recovery. Oil prices dipped today as rising COVID cases upset hopes for a smooth recovery in fuel demand, with the main crude benchmarks on track for their first monthly falls in multiple months after the last week's dips. Well, again, what do you expect, guys, when you have countries joining OPEC like Libya, when you have countries oversupplying, overproducing, and the market is already saturated with oil and the demand stays very, very low, as more and more people are encouraged to work from home if possible in parts in Europe. And in the States, again, we have big issues with COVID cases affecting demand. More crude is also being exported from OPEC producers Iran and Libya, despite efforts by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies to limit the output. Just as I was saying, last week, U.S. energy firms also added oil and natural gas rigs for a second week in a row, according to Baker Hughes. Still, OPEC Secretary General said yesterday that commercial oil inventories in the OECD countries are expected to stand only slightly above the 5-year average in the first quarter of 2021, before falling below that level for the rest of the year. So again, no good news is announced on the oil side of things, guys. Let's move on to gold, and let's move to the charts and see how the markets open today. And I will reveal the two very important announcements. Gold price down over U.S. political uncertainty. Gold was down today in Asia with uncertainty ahead of tomorrow's presidential election debate between President Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden, hitting the yellow metal. Gold futures inch down 0.05%, trading to around 1865 earlier on. Alongside the debate between Trump and Biden, investors are also looking to whether the U.S. Congress will reach an agreement on the latest stimulus measures. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi remained optimistic that the Democrats and Republicans would reach a deal very soon, adding that talks between the two sides were continuing. We saw basically everyone last week announcing that they are ready to talk about the new stimulus measures as the sell-off in U.S. stocks continued for 4 weeks in a row. The U.S. indices closed on Friday, the 4th week in a row below their previous values, and obviously that gave some concern to the U.S. government. Let's move on to the charts, guys, and see how the markets open today. We see oil declining after a false breakout, which was performed on Friday. We can see it here. Yeah, that is the false breakout. And since then, we see oil pushing lower and lower. Currently trading at 39.84. And by the looks of it, it's going to push even lower today with the RSI and the stochastic still pointing downwards. And the ranging pattern still not completed. Talking about the ranging pattern, guys, this is what I'm talking about. I'll just draw support resistance levels. Yeah. On oil, we're gonna see the false breakout that happened on Friday. There you go, guys. It's clear. It's crystal clear that this was a false breakout, which probably tricked a lot of traders, leaving them exposed to potential losses if they got caught on the wrong side of the trade. Now, talking about a ranging market, yeah, usually what happens is we see oil ranging between support resistance levels. Yeah, let's say the 39, 35, 36 level and the 40, 20 mark. Okay, or a bit higher. Let's say 40, 28 or 40, 30. And what stands out, guys? What stands out when you look at a chart? You can clearly see the false breakout that happened there. And for this pattern to be completed, basically you need oil to come back down close to the 39.43 levels, yeah, or around that mark, for the markets to still be in a ranging market. Okay, once that happens, then breakouts will be expected towards the downside or towards the upside, depending on where the market decides to go. So this is what is happening with all, guys, today. Positive, negative opening for oil. Positive hopes for a continuation of the downtrend towards the 39.38 mark. Okay, but again, let's wait for the markets to confirm. Usually half an hour, 45 minutes after the European opening. Moving on to the euro, guys. We see the euro very, very undecided today. It's still trading at its lows at 116.28. Yeah, we see a mixed opening today. The RSI is trading somewhere in between around the 50% mark. We see stochastic pointing downwards. So let's see if the European indices will indeed open higher today and they will push higher, then very likely we're going to see the euro dropping versus the US dollar. Let's move on to the pound, guys. Again, pound, just like oil, we see it ranging for the last few days. We see a negative opening on the pound, currently trading at 127.76. Again, same support resistance levels, guys. Very, very easy to understand the basics of the market, the basic setup of the market, so you can plan your entries or your exits. So there you go. We're looking at a ranging market, guys, with the pound ranging between 127 and 127.80. From what we see here, we see the RSI and the stochastic pointing downwards. We see them quite high in the overbought levels. So a bit of a pullback would make a bit of sense, yeah, judging by the technical analysis. But let's not forget, events are weighing heavily on the exchange rate of the currencies. We have a few things happening in the economic calendar today. So let's see where the pound will go. But I think now you understand where I'm going with this basic technical analysis with support resistance levels and a couple of technical indicators. Right, moving on to the USD Jpy. We see the US dollar pushing higher after the European opening today, being rejected by support levels, yeah, at 105.24 from what we see on the charts, and slowly creating higher highs. Okay, from what we see here. So the question remains, will the dollar push higher today, pushing the European currencies lower? That means the European indices will very likely push a bit higher today, as the correlation between American indices and the US dollar and European indices and European currencies tends to be the same, okay, which is a negative correlation. But again, let's wait for the markets to give us a sign. Now we're looking at the Aussie dollar, which again is pushing slightly lower after the European opening, still in an uptrend, still taking a beating every time the US dollar gets a chance. We see the RSI and the stochastic pointing downwards today, guys. Let's see how the US dollar, how the Aussie dollar, sorry, will perform. It's currently trading at 0.7049. Okay, very, very shy. Let's see if we decrease the time frame. Maybe we get a bit of a clearer indication. Okay, we look at the market setup. We look here and we look here. The market was not able to create an equal height high or a higher high. So it keeps creating lower highs, as we see here. That usually implies a bit of a downtrend. Let's have a quick look at it on a 4-hour chart again. Same thing. Yeah, we can see a red candlestick. We can see the RSI and the stochastic trading at their lows. Let's see what's going to happen with the Aussie dollar later on today. I'm going to share some trading signals with you guys. And if you want more trading signals, remember to join Forex's Facebook group and get trading signals with an accuracy of up to 75%, guys. All you have to do is go on forexc.com or forexcube.com, and customer support will take it from there. It's free. Okay, you don't have to deposit any funds to benefit from the signals. Try them out, guys. Try them out. See how they work. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the USD Canadian, which again opened on a positive note today after the European opening. Currently trading at 133.89. Okay, creating higher highs and potentially pushing a bit higher today. If that's the case, I'm sure short-term traders will set a take profit around the 134.45 mark, as that's the previous high. Alternatively, guys, look at the 133 flat level. Okay, if the US dollar decides to pull back a bit today versus the Canadian dollar, and these are your closest support resistance levels. Moving on to the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, they traded way lower than last week. We see a bit of recovery hopes. Okay, probably around the hopes that the new stimulus measures will be approved and the U.S. companies will do a bit better. There we go. We see the Dow Jones very similar. Easy time to buy the dip. Easy time to buy the dip, guys, and take advantage of this potential correction, of the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, which could bring tremendous profits. But the question still remains: easy time to buy the dip. The U.S. markets will show us that later on today, and probably Donald Trump will definitely highlight that in his speech today versus Joe Biden. Okay, talking about a bit more stimulus to be added for U.S. companies. We see the U.S. dollar index again pushing higher and higher, guys. Currently trading at 94.58. Okay, are we looking at a recovery? Are we looking at a correction from that level to this level? This is how you use the Fibonacci tools, guys. We see so far the recovery has been almost 50%, with the dollar index pushing very close to this resistance level at 94.80. Okay, if it's going to push through that, then probably traders will eye the 95.49 mark as the next take profit target. Okay, let's not forget the technical indicators. On a 4-hour chart, we see the RSI and the stochastic pointing downwards, guys. So let's see what's going to happen with the dollar index. It might go into a bit of a range today, okay, especially ahead of the speech of Donald Trump. Right, moving on to the gold futures. Back on a 1-hour chart, guys, we see gold trading at its lows at 1863. It's been crawling around the 1860 level for quite a few days. Okay, we see it closing a bit higher than the previous low. So Again, questions. Will the gold futures recover slightly today? Will we get the Fibonacci tool out, measuring the retracement and getting ready to buy the dip, guys? This is the question. So far, looking at the Fibonacci retracement levels, we see gold still trading at its lows in the 0.23% mark. Okay, let's see what's going to happen later on today. The markets will definitely give us a sign. Light crude or English crude or European crude is currently trading at 42.03, very close to the 42 flat mark. RSI and the stochastic somewhere in between. We see a bit of a gap here, which is usually closed. Okay, so we might see oil, at least Brent oil futures, pushing a bit lower today to 41.84. Okay, no good news for oil as the markets are still oversupplied and the demand stays weak. Silver is currently trading at 22.93, apparently pushing a bit higher than it closed on Friday. We see RSI and stochastic pointing upwards. So in about half an hour, 1 hour, guys, we will probably get an indication of the markets on where gold and silver are looking to go today, as well as the US dollar. Most probably for long positions, traders will eye the 23.92 level for a long position, and for a short position, most probably they will eye the 22.76 level. Okay, again, it's entirely up to you how you're gonna play this one today. Bitcoin, your favorite, guys, is trading just short of the $11,000 mark, currently trading at 10,888. Doing a bit of a pullback, a bit of a retracement after a good rally that had in the last few hours. Okay, as I said, Bitcoin is pushing back by the looks of it to this level, to the 11,100, okay, or the 11,200 level that it reached in the previous week. Okay, this is what's going on with the markets. Let's have a quick look at the economic calendar, guys, see what's expected to happen, and then I'm going to share some trading signals with you. Right, okay, so basically today in the afternoon, we're going to have the German president holding a press conference. Then we're going to have someone from ECB. And then shortly after that, we're going to have the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, on a press conference after the U.S. opening, shortly after the U.S. opening today at 4:45 GMT plus 3. And tonight at 2100 hours GMT plus 3, we're going to have someone from the FOMC holding a press conference. So not a lot of activity happening today. However, these press conferences usually weigh heavily on the exchange rate of currencies. Okay, tomorrow, guys, we're going to have quite a few announcements. Quite a few people from the FOMC will speak tomorrow. Again, we're going to have the German president speaking. Okay, and then we're going to have the API weekly crude oil stock, which is announced ahead of the crude oil inventories every Tuesday. Also, Tuesday, very important, guys, we're going to have the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and his candidate, Joe Biden. Okay, that will trigger a lot of volatility on U.S. stocks and on the U.S. dollar. 100%. Now, let's have a quick look at some technical analysis, guys. Let's see what investing.com has to say about the euro. We see the euro on a sell position seen by analysts at investing.com on a 5-minute chart. Moving on to a strong sell, 15 minutes, and daily, again, remains a strong sell. Okay, so if you want to take these trading signals, guys, trade carefully. Do your own analysis. Don't follow the signals blindly. But if they make sense to you, then you know what you have to do. Right, we see the pound strengthening supposedly against the US dollar with strong buy positions up to a 1-hour chart. So they expect the pound to strengthen a bit for a couple of hours at least. Judging by the signals, they're short-term signals. The daily still remains on a strong sell. So probably just before the US opening, okay, we're up to the US opening, we're going to see the pound strengthening if that's the case. Right, USD Jpy. We see the USD Jpy on buy position close to neutral on a very short term, on a 5-minute and a 15-minute chart. USD CHF remains on a strong buy short term, and the daily still remains on a strong buy. We're looking at USD Canadian stuck in a strong buy, at least for now, on all time frames. All right, moving on. Neutral on Euro CHF, mixed signals on Euro JPY. Okay, but on the pound versus the JPY and the Swiss franc, we're looking at strong buy positions, at least short term. So they might last till lunchtime, or they might last just before the US opening. Okay, this is what's expected to happen with the markets. Let's have a quick look at European indices, guys, and see what investing.com thinks about it. Right, we're looking at FTSE 100 futures with strong buy positions on 3 time frames. 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and hourly. CAC 40 strong buy on 3 time frames. The DAX, we're looking at the DAX again, stuck in a strong buy position short term. Okay, if that's the case, guys, very likely we're going to see the euro pulling back a bit. Okay, especially against the US dollar. This is what is happening with the markets, guys. Join me at 4 o'clock today. We're going to have a special broadcast, a special New York opening with Joe Monteiro in the studio announcing a very, very important thing. So join me at 4 o'clock today, guys. Amazing webinar, amazing start of the week. Until then, remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money.